Hey everybody, it's Kyle with Force of Will Tavern, and I'm here with Antyn Vejil. Antyn, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Antyn's a team Tavern player. We're excited to have him on the team. He did really well. What place did you get at ARG States in Arizona?
I got fourth.
Fourth place. Okay, so that's where we're at. What were you playing?
I was playing the Incarnate Cthulhu.
Okay, awesome. So why don't we go in, explain the deck a little bit and some cool things. I know you have some cool tech choices.
Yeah, so first I was playing the 4 Gwens because Guinevere is like by far the best card in the game right now. Anyone that argues that is just nuts.
Okay, well, let's see what happens in the comments for that comment.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Just so much value, especially with a lot of the other stuff that you play, but just in general, the fact that you turn all of your opponent's outs into advantage, and basically they just burn cards from their hand. I mean, the games that the only person I lost to in Swiss was Brian Liu, and it's because our first game he resolved I didn't draw one, and then he resolved 5 Guineveres. So I mean, he had a 7-card hand and a same board state as I did, so it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Guinevere. Rukh Egg, of course. This is your Incarnate engine, and of course it's just really good with Guinevere. It's good to block with and just grab whatever you need at any time. Rukh Egg's really good too. Some people would argue that this might be the best card, but I mean it grabs Guinevere. So.
It serves the beautiful lady.
Right. I was only playing 3 Rasputins. I know there's some lists that play 4. Me and Brian had talked about it, and 3 seemed like the right number. 4 just kind of clogged sometimes, and a lot of the times it didn't. It wasn't necessary. Usually, just one. You only really ever want to see 1. Getting more than 2, you just probably want to mull, because you just really need 1, and you're hoping for eggs so that you can
So
tutor out your engines.
Absolutely.
I was on 3 Loras.
Awesome.
Because the vampire package is really cool. I know some people don't run the vampire package, but it's really solid, and just being able to go Lora, Carmilla, or Lora, turn your other 2 Loras into Carmillas, just depending on what you draw.
Now, some people like 4 Lora. Why are you at 3?
I don't think 4 is necessary. I don't like her stats. I mean, I like being able to grab Carmilla when I need it, but I don't like the 3/3 line, especially with Bow being so prevalent in the meta right now.
Absolutely.
And I think 4 clogged. Same as with Rasputin. I was playing 2 Cinderellas.
Awesome.
Some people don't like it. Some people do. Cinderella's ridiculous with Rasputin, of course. Being able to nuke their board you sacrifice life, but especially against Valentina decks, which we actually did see some today. Being able to just repeatedly go through all of their untargetable things and just burn with Rasputin is really good. Just being able to clear blockers, it's good against Grim. It's good against the Alice World matchups. Nobody was playing that today, but it's really good against that too. Yeah, I actually won a game with Cinderella because I sacked I was playing against a Vlad player, and I was able to sack my whole field, and then end up doing a fetal movement for game, so that was cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would just sack the egg, search for another egg, play that egg,
and for people who don't know, fetal movement, you remove from play all the resonators in either player's graveyard.
All cards in the deck.
I thought it got rerouted to every resonator.
No, it only does damage for the resonators.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you remove all of them.
The whole grave, and then you do 100 for every resonator in the grave.
And you had lethal because you did that.
Yeah, that was for game.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was sitting there, and it was actually time, and I was on final turn, and I was like, I have to win, and I had the fetal, and I didn't really have a board. I had Cinderella out, and he had a Necronomicon out with he only had 3 mana up, and it was Vlad. So I was kind of scared because he did have some destruction stuff going on, but I basically saw the fetal. I looked at my grave, I saw I had 8 resonators, and I'm like, okay, I have Egg, I have Cinderella already on board. She's at a decent stat, so I think I can pull this out, and I was able to just. I was I don't know if the guy knew what I was thinking because I kept checking my grave and counting the amount of resonators. I'm like, can I get lethal here? And I was able to pull it out. So,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was cool. Little Dread, mine and Adam Reiser's favorite card.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's really good in the mirror. It's really good in general, just because more so. I mean, it's good in a lot of decks, any deck that's really running fire. But more so, I feel in Cthulhu because since everyone is on fire right now because of how popular Blazer is, You can, steal their lance, hit them with it, and then use their lances for incarnates.
Absolutely.
And that being able to steal red things and use it for incarnate is just really, really strong. And of course, you could just pull off nuts plays with it.
Oh, yeah.
Stealing their big thing, stealing their meth and hitting them with it, stealing anything.
Yeah. And then sacking away with your Gwen.
Right.
Best card of the game.
Right, best card in the game. So now we're going on to Underground Dragger. And Underground Dragger is something that you really don't see any Incarnate list playing. There was, I believe, the Rizard player at ARG, the last one. He was running them, but of course he'd run stealth cards in Rizard. But I really like them in here. I do realize that there is certain weaknesses to them because of how prevalent Bow is again. But as long as you're not playing against Arla, I don't really mind paying 2 to shut down a Bow.
Right.
And there are instances where you can still trigger them, even if they have the Bow. You don't even care about the Bow.
Right.
So pretty much some of the plays that happened today were like someone would swing in with a lance and try and snipe something. So you actually do let them snipe it. Like I would let them hit my Guinevere, or let them snipe anything really. Snipe my egg, just block with something. Then they come in with another swift guy, and you're like, okay, well I'm gonna flip my Dragger now, and then I'm gonna kill your lance that did damage. Now I'm gonna block your other guy, and I was actually able to kill 2 things for 2. And still have a 7/7 body on board.
Right.
It's absolutely nuts when it does what it needs to do, and a lot of the times it's just really solid. On the draw, I have one inside as well, and on the draw it's just even better. Even better.
It's anti Lancelot.
Yeah, pretty much anti Lancelot, and Lancelot's like
That's
the best
That's the
thing.
reason I put that one over my line.
Of course, we're running the 4 Nyarlathoteps because she's amazing.
Yeah.
Strip the best card from their hand, and it's an 8/8. It's just great.
A lot of knowledge too. Looking at their hand.
Yeah, being able to see your opponent's hand is crucial. Like, especially on the play more so I feel like than on the draw, because I mean it matters either way. But on the play, it's just being able to strip their lance. I really don't like lance. If nobody can tell, I really am scared of it. So I mean, being able to go turn 2, get rid of their lance so that they don't have a 2 is really nice. We're playing 3 Hasturs, 4 I feel is too many, 2 I feel is too little. So we're on 3. It's really good with Egg. It's tutorable with Egg. It kills anything. It's basically Carmilla, but better because it can kill, vampires and I mean the stats. Yeah, it can be thundered. It can be demon flamed, but it's solid.
Right.
And it's more incarnate stuff. We're on 2 Carmillas. Any more than that would be excessive. It basically does the same thing Hastur does, and it's tutorable with Lora. And since we're only playing 3 Loras, 3 and 3 would be too many. But yeah, Carmilla's great. She's always been good. Kill anything. Good card. We had 1 Blazer in the main. Blazer's a really good card. A lot of people actually forget that Blazer exists. Blazer's really, really, really crucial in the mirror. It shuts down their Rukh Eggs. It shuts down their Rasputins because they get removed instead of hitting the grave. Rukh Egg never hits the grave, so you can't get the search. And black has no out to Blazer. You can keep playing your stonings, and you can keep playing any destruction you have, and he just goes to the removed, and then he comes back, and he goes to the removed, and comes back. They have no out to him. He continually will be a threat throughout the whole game once he hits the board.
It's a lot of pressure.
Right. And even if your opponent does do like Nyarlathotep, you can, to get rid of your 1 Blazer, I mean, you can use Guinevere, get your Scythe in your discard, and then use Scythe to remove him, then start playing him again. Yeah. So he's always gonna come out.
Right.
and Rick. It does hurt though. You don't want to play him if you're in a losing advantage. If you're at a losing position point, because then your own eggs and
you're not gonna be able
start getting hurt too. So I mean, you do need to know when to play him. 1 Susan in the main, of course, because Susanowo was crazy good. People were playing Guibers at this event, and Bahamut. There was some Bahamut players too. I played 1 Susan in Houston. He's like my favorite card in the game. And he's just a win con, even if you do have to go to turn 6, which games in Force of Will don't only last 2 or 3 turns anymore, so they actually do go pretty long. Yeah. And he is a really good win con. 1 Yogg, I did end up putting this in. I had taken it out, then I moved it to the side, Then I ended up putting it back in because my buddy Matt wanted it in the deck. It did actually win me one game where I cleared was it in the? I think it was in the mirror, and I cleared. The guy had 3 Rasputins out. I cleared all 3 of his Rasputins, and he was already in a really bad position, so he couldn't even pay for all of them. And then I killed the one thing that was left on board, and was able to hit him for a lot of damage.
Jeez.
And Yogg's really good in general. I am playing 2 Death Scythe in the main. I was on 3. I kind of wish I had 3. But I think 2 is still really good. Of course, it has the interaction with Blazer, like I said.
Right.
And Regalia deck is still really good. There was a Regalia player here, and he did top 8 as well. So I mean, I do realize that Blazer in general is good against the Regalias, but it's still a deck that needs to be respected. And so I felt that the main board Death Scythes were good
Important for that.
And of course, it's just ridiculous with Guinevere.
Right, yeah.
You can just get so much value.
And for those who haven't figured it out yet, when you pitch Death Scythe, you can banish 3 cards out of your, or when I say banish, I mean remove from play 3 cards from your banish zone to get Scythe back to your hand. So it's basically free 2 cards with Guinevere when you do that.
Right. So we had 4 Flames. Flames is, an unchaseable card. It's ridiculous. Everybody's complained about it since it's come out.
Yeah.
It's Flames.
Yeah.
It's crazy good.
What do you flame most?
Guinevere.
Okay.
Can't respond to that.
Trick question.
You cannot respond to that. I mean, like I said, best card in the game, get rid of it. It's really one of the only outs to it. I flame Guinevere more than probably anything else.
It's the biggest small land.
And then 2 Stonings. Stoning is just a good card in general. It deals with Mephistopheles, which can be a problem for this deck to deal with if he actually does hit board. And it deals just with really big things.
Absolutely.
There are certain cards that it's not an out to, obviously, like Giles or well, mostly Giles. But yeah, Giles and Blazer.
And Blazer, yeah, exactly.
But, yeah. Of course, we were playing Blazer. And the stone lineup was, we had 1 Grusbalesta. We did have 1 Little Red, the Pierce Stone. I actually did play 1 Bales, just on the off chance that I flipped Blazer and somebody wanted to be cheeky and Duel of Truth me or something,
right.
And just make me sad that I can't play my Guineveres anymore. So,
right.
And then we had 7 Darkness Stones.
That was clever, writing the 1 Bales.
And then we had, for sideboard, we have 3 Robe of the Fire Rats, which did win me lots of games. Robe's really good in the mirror. It's really good against knights. It's really good against fire.
Right.
I mean, fire.
Yeah.
The game right now is very fire-based, very based around Lancelot, again, like I said. So, I mean, being able to just shut down their Lance or their Susanowos or whatever that wants to hit the board, it's really good.
Yeah.
There's very few games where I didn't board this thing.
Right. Why would you not?
Yeah. In the mirror, I only would board 2. Against like knights or anything aggro, I'd board 3.
Right.
I did play another Dragger in the side, like I said,
right.
because on the draw, you want it most of the time, unless, like I said, you're playing like an Arla deck that has just tons of bow counters forever. You do want it on the draw. It's really solid. I played 3 Marybell because I did respect the Regalia deck, and also Arla aggro in general is annoying because of the 4 counters, so being able to Marybell those ridiculously large counter bows was relevant too. I did play 4 splits. A lot of people were only on 3. I did feel like I would still see players playing a lot of special stones, and I really wasn't too confident in the Vlad matchup if I didn't have these.
Right.
Because we are both playing controls, different kinds of control, but still ultimately control.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have these, and it did win me my game against that Vlad player as well, because I put him into lethal range because of the split the turn before.
Right.
After he resolved like 2 or 3 Grettles. Fetal Movement, which again won me a game today. Fetal Movement's a really good card. It's a really good out to a lot of things, especially with how grindy games go, and especially in a deck where you use your creatures as incarnate fodder and that you send them to the grave. It's really good to have cards that you can utilize the graveyard as a damage source as well, especially since you're just filling it constantly. And it's also really good against Necronomicon, which the Vlad player is playing, So that's really solid. And if I did see any Rizard players, you know, it's an out to Persephone, it's an out to any graveyard-based decks. You know, if anyone actually played Yamada combo or something too, it's an out to those decks. Which those decks are still very scary when they come out. So, we had one more Susan. Again, that's my personal favorite card, and he puts in work. I usually end up boarding him in against a lot of things. I board him in against the mirror because the mirror is all about your threats, and the more threats you have in your deck, it's just better. Right. And of course, against dragons, against Bahamut, against a lot of things, I ended up boarding in the second season.
Correct.
And lastly, we had one more Death Scythe because again, Death Scythe really good, and there are still ruler-based decks are still very relevant.
Right.
And Regalia deck and whatnot. So.
Well, awesome. Antyn, thank you. Real quick before you go, I know you guys got a 6-hour drive. Right. Just give me a quick minute about you know, what you feel about the meta right now, and just kind of, you know, your expertise. Just for those of you who don't know, Antyn got second place at Houston, and he, you know, did contend at he did play at Worlds. That was this summer. So just give us a little bit, you know, what you think of the meta.
Right now, I mean, I feel like the meta very much is fire-based. I mean, regardless of what you're playing fire. You're playing some variant of fire. If you're not playing some variant of fire, you're at a massive disadvantage. I know a lot of people like Valentina decks, and I'm trying to think of other, like the Alice decks,
right.
The Alice healing. I know those decks are solid. I do think they're good, but I think the fire is just too fast right now and too consistent. And it has the best cards in the game: Lancelot, Guinevere, Rukh Egg. I mean, you just have so many good cards. And yeah, it's
fire-based.
Yeah, it's very much